Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Wish there was sunshine, but you know how it is. It's still too early in the US. But why did I come on? Let me think. Um, yeah, our temperatures. You know, yard workers, gardeners. We're looking at 50, and that's feeding time. Um, you need to be aware of what your yard needs, what your yard wants. Uh, some people don't think about that. And this is that time of year you need to be out there looking at looking at the grass, looking around your garden bed, your raised beds, what have you. Looking for signs that things aren't doing well. Slightly raised beds, what, 1 foot, 2 foot maybe. Your food web around there is going to be showing you signs that there's issues. It needs fed. Um, which is one of the last things people think about, but it's one of those. Does any of this work? Oh yeah, I guess it does. Uh, yeah, so you need to be in your books. Um, Potion number 641. If you read that and you think about it and you think about what's there, they mix a little bit of molasses in there, a little bit of something to enhance that a little bit. That molasses, deer grade molasses. Now, I don't know how many of you are into that or how many of you actually look at any of that stuff. Um, but understand the food web, the part that we're talking about feeding today, um, it starts to kick in at 50 degrees and it'll be coming out of dormancy because the temperature is being so weird. Um, and it's going to be going at the plants, pulling the sugar off your grass, off any other roots and what have you that are out there. Um, that's good and bad, but you can supplement it and take the weight of the food web off your grass and off your roots by giving it deer grade molasses. I wouldn't spray it on direct unless you had. Would you stop? Unless you had bricks, cinder blocks, or something like that that it could soak into and brown up a little. Um, but yeah, now's the time to be thinking. We're at that temperature point. Then get out. We're at that temperature point. I might be cutting grass Christmas Day, because it's growing right along with my garlic, and I need to get a picture up for you guys for that. I know a lot of you question that, want to see that stuff, but the garlic's growing bonkers in both beds, even in these temperatures and with the snow and ice and everything else we've had. But yeah, page 51. Those of you that have the book, um, and I know some of you are holding back, and I understand it's Christmas time, money's tight, bills still have to be paid. I get it. I get it. I more than get it, and that's why for the push to 1,000 contest or what have you. I really haven't said anything. I've gotten one entry out of 54 views or 54 comments or something, whatever the numbers are. Carolyn Be Free is the only one so far that's put up a video and made any statements. And I know some of you are still waiting on reviews from people using this stuff. Will from a prepping channel, he's ecstatic with the size of his tomatoes. He just could not believe how big they got. And that's I realize in as people come in like Jerry's Woodworking, that video's here. He gave a review, but 2 months in, as to how incredible his yard had already jumped in under 2 months. The book works, everybody. Going organic will make all the difference in the world, both in your yard and your garden. And you've got to, some people find it that they don't understand. They find it hard to believe that the two coexist. You have to understand the microscopic world, the single cell organisms. Hey, buddy, they stretch. And I know, without having a microscope in front of you, it's really hard to understand, to prove it to yourself. And you've got to take the scientists' words on this. But, too many from too many colleges have come out and said, you take a spoonful of soil and you get in there and you look at this single cell organism, and it can be measured at nearly a mile long. And just a spoonful of topsoil, one organism, just one type of organism measured. So you can just imagine what is going on in your yard and your garden. These two intermingle. And they go out and they bring back the supplements that the different plants that you put in the ground grow on. Just like your grass grows on a certain supplement. And the food web gets its instructions from your grass, goes out and brings those supplements back. Have you ever noticed, and some people don't study it that closely. If you really pay attention more so to your garden than your yard, there's this weird effect that starts next to your garden and works its way out in your grass, that the grass around the garden, if you're not walking on it on a continual basis, your grass around your garden is better than the grass in the rest of your yard. That's because of the food web, not because of the roots of your grass reaching into the garden and pulling anything back, because it doesn't do that. Most of the time, grass, depending on the type and breed, will go straight down or go straight across. It won't go diagonal and go into your garden bed to get what it needs. You need to treat both the same. You need to treat your yard and your grass the same as you would your garden. They're one and the same when it comes to the food web. Now, I know this is a stretch. If you look at the food chain, and we're talking about, from the beginning of the food chain up through the end of the food chain, you're going to find that the food web is on both ends, because everything returns to nature one way or another. Everything is in a cycle. And from the point of the single cell all the way up through the complex organisms such as ourselves, we all end up back in the dirt at some point, time or another, one way, shape, form or another. And the food web is there. throughout. And that's where I keep saying this. NPK process is our enemy because it wants to stop the food web. When you dump oil on anything, not only does it get slick, but it just chokes out and kills off the food web. So you have to look at it and you have to treat it all the same. So your yard and your garden, it's that time of year. We're reaching that sweet spot at 50, 52 degrees across the country and across the planet in a lot of areas. Take the load off your plants because the food web is struggling all over the planet. The soils are struggling all over the planet. Take the stress off your plants and sweeten the soil. It's on page 51. Just get a little bit of that and get that out there and let that saturate into the soil and relieve the stress on the plants. Your plants will thank you. You'll see it. Because as the plants don't have to produce the sugars and don't have to do the feeding of the food web still thrives. It still gets what it needs. Because that's basically all that it needs. Hey, Soul Solutions, thanks for stopping in. But that's basically all that it needs. It needs that little bit of sweetness. It needs that little bit of sugar. So do all of us. We have our morning coffee. We sweeten it up just a little bit. We have our morning caffeine, and it's got a little bit of sugar in it. Well, that's all the food web actually needs. It takes the sugar from the plants. All plants produce a little bit of sugar, and the food web thrives on it. Well, when you relieve that stress load, your plants do better. Now, that's not to say that is, that's the solution. That instead of the NPK process, we just keep pouring sugars on our soils. No, 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 no. No, there's no. This is just a stopgap, temporary winter thing. But we've got to look at all of it the same way. Even though a lot of us are now dormant in our gardens and not doing anything and have put blankets on them and have covered them up to keep them warm, to keep them thriving underneath, we still got to provide that little bit of extra food, that little bit of something. Hey, Pecan, good morning. Hello, Carolyn to be free. Good morning. Yeah, no. I'll probably go to the movie theater for Christmas and then come home and cut grass or something. Yeah, no. Or I'll be out here with another video if something hits me this week. I don't know. I know I've got to talk about capsaicin on the other channel. It's as I was looking at the diabetes and as I was, going back over my cinnamon and what have you, there's a lot of heart disease issues involved. Did you know, and this, and I was reminded of this the other night when I was out plowing. Did you know that if somebody suffers a heart attack and you're there, as you're waiting for 911, you can actually help them. And this is, give them a pepper. Let them chew on a pepper. The amount of capsaicin, which only comes from peppers, to my understanding, and I'll double check that fact, but capsaicin protects the heart. It's one of these really neat chemicals that, in a stopgap situation, if you're with somebody who has a heart attack or suffers from a heart attack, one of the first things they say is go give them aspirin immediately. You know how I am about instantly running to a chemical that's derivative of oil. Um, and I know there are some aspirin that can be derived directly from plants and but a pepper, a green pepper, just feed them a green pepper with that heart attack. That little amount of capsaicin can save their heart. I was amazed to hear this right out of a doctor's mouth. I was stunned that a doctor would say something like this. But yes, capsaicin. These people that are out there that are these pepperheads. Oh my God, they're actually healthier heart wise than a lot of us. And it turns out it's the capsaicin that they're screwing with, and it's actually good for you. I was surprised to find it out. Um, See, most people when they go out and work and what have you, they listen to the radio or whatever. I listen to doctors. I listen to talk shows because I want to know. I don't, there's a whole strand of holistic doctors I listen to, and I bring a lot of that stuff to the other channel I have, and not that big one you saw me in your channel with earlier. Um, but yeah, there's some. Mother Nature has provided. God has provided. And if we take care of nature, nature will take care of us. With all of the chemtrail stuff going on and this NPK baloney in the big box stores, everything on sell. They really couldn't care less whether it's good for the planet or not. Hey, good morning, Mr. Cliff and Miss JCT. Good morning, sweetie. So yeah, I don't talk about that stuff much here. You can check my more info or whatever after the stream and see links. I've got links to the what I perceive to be the best vitamin supplement company available, and there's so much more on that website. So much more. Um, but trailing back and getting back on topic. Yeah, I probably won't be back around for Christmas, New Year's. Um, I may be hanging out here somewhere, but um, yeah, there's more information available on another channel of mine. I don't have it linked here. If one of my mods has the small channel, um, they might pop the link up, but it's not that big a deal. I mean, a lot of people aren't concerned about their health, especially during the holidays. They overeat and they this and they that and they splurge and they do. Hey, there's some great foods that come out during the holidays you don't get the rest of the year. Oh, 320 snuck in. Hey, good morning, 320. Mm. But yeah, page 51. For those of you that have the book, look at your yards and look at your gardens. As we reach these higher, warmer temperatures, yeah, buddy, we need to sneak out there and use potion number. Oh shoot, 641. I think I wrote down. Yeah, potion 641. Um, and you can shortcut that with just a little bit of deer grade molasses. Um, Warm it up a little bit and get that sprinkled around. Feed the food web. Take the stress off your plants and increase your yields. Help that food web get deeper into the ground. Because believe it or not, it's going to come out of dormancy. Whether you're out there involved in it or not, 50 to 52 is the sweet spot. And the food web's going to pop up. And it's going to wake up. And it's going to be looking for food. Well, Soul, I know this is your first time in because we just ran into each other this morning. The whole point of my book, The Green Wizard's Guide, is to explain to people that there's an organic way. You've got to understand that the food that is currently available to us at the grocery store is not the food that was available to us 30 years ago. It's not even close. And with less money and less effort, you can grow a garden, or you can grow potted plants on your porch or your deck or your balcony if you're in an apartment situation or what have you. And with very little money, you can get incredible results. I mean, when I first started this many years ago, oh my God, um, I started with 10 tomato plants, and I'd be lucky with a couple 100 pounds of tomatoes. Now I barely plant 3, and I get 600 plus pounds of tomatoes from every plant. They grow over 19 feet tall. It's incredible what your soils are capable of doing when they're not treated with the NPK process. Everything, everything can become incredible. I've got a video here. I know we were talking on your channel, or talking on the other channel about having shorter videos. I have a small one. It's 5 minutes long. It's radishes. Go look at it real quick and come back. And don't even watch it. Just scroll over it with your mouse and look at the size of the radishes from my test bed. It'll blow your mind. Radishes are supposed to be the size of a quarter, not mine. Not mine, not even close. Yeah, incredible stuff. And I got to check this capsaicin thing. I find it hard to believe that capsaicin only grows in 1 or 2 plants. I got a feeling I'll find it in some other places. Yeah, what my system, and don't misunderstand when I say my system, it's what I mean is what I've documented. Um, and that's from personal experience. 15, 20 years of personal experience doing this stuff. It took me 5 years to write the book and to get it in a way that everybody could really enjoy it, have fun with it. Um, but when you go back to nature and you go back to doing it the way the Indians did it 200 plus years ago, and what was used prior to the big chemical companies taking over in the 50s, it's incredible what your yard can do and what your gardens can do, with just a little bit of understanding. And that's the issue. We've lost the understanding. Some of this stuff has gone away. Hey, good morning, Charles. So yeah, if you get out there and you have a little bit of spare time, absolutely. It's time for page 51. Pay attention to the food web. Pay attention to what's going on. Like I said, I'll probably have to cut grass for Christmas here in Cleveland because it's going to be those temperatures, and my grass is growing. I can't stop it. It's out of control. Um, and I love them deep roots. I know I could let it go and do nothing, and it wouldn't have an effect either way. It wouldn't phase it in either way. And I know some gardeners are going to tell you, and some yard care people are going to tell you, well, if your grass gets too tall and then it sits dormant, it'll mold and it'll do this and it'll do that. And yeah, that's all true when you're dealing with really sick yards. But when your yard is healthy as mine is, that stuff doesn't hold true. Yeah. Oh no, 320. If you suspect, and this is for anybody, if you suspect that something you've been doing may be potentially causing you to have cancer, and yes, I'm going to say it this way because this was the last one to make any changes to the documentation President Obama went out and rewrote the definition for cancer, even though he's not a qualified doctor. He went out and he changed the definition of cancer to be any cells forming in clusters throughout the human body are hereby deemed cancerous in nature because they're not performing the function that they were designed for. Well, if you get into the aspects of it, there's a bunch of different things that are causing that. One is dietary. Secondary is the lack of selenium being able to instruct the cells where to go and what to do. But if you suspect, or if you just aren't up to speed, not feeling up to speed, understand that we are one of the 3 complex organisms on the planet that are incapable of producing vitamin C, which is anti-cancer. With the dietary system that we are currently under in the grocery stores, we are all highly susceptible to cancer per the definition of President Obama. So, if you follow suit, the amount of vitamin C that we currently need, brace yourself, 15,000 milligrams a day in our diet. If you suspect you might have something, I would suggest going to even higher doses than that. Your body will naturally reject what it doesn't need. Okay? But cancer cannot survive in certain atmospheres. There are Nobel Prizes handed out for this. Yes, you can get coral calcium. Yes, you can overdose on it. Yes, cancer cannot survive in a calcium-rich atmosphere. But why are you rejecting the cells that may be in need somewhere else? You could actually be causing yourself problems. Vitamin C, 15 to 20,000 milligrams a day. Eat it like candy, like it's going out of style, and prevent that from happening. And do it for a solid month. Just like anybody that gets into the cinnamon that is thinking that they may be pre-diabetic. Hammer away an entire bottle. I don't care how much is in it. The entire bottle, 90 tablets in 30 days. Overdose on cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon. We're a very complex organism. Very complex. And the powers that be know that. And they've eliminated certain things from our diet, just like them trying to push iodine out of our diet. When they discovered that increased dosages of iodine also increase IQ levels, they immediately removed iodine from the salt and added sodium, which causes heart disease. Yeah. Yeah. Just go back and look. Go back and check my facts. I'm telling you, they did this deliberately. And now here comes 5G. Even worse. Even worse. But yeah, the whole reason I turned on, and I don't even know how long I've been on at this point. The whole reason I turned on this morning was to get everybody thinking about their gardens and their yards, because we're getting into warmer temperatures, and I'm advising against going out there with t-shirt and shorts that you're just asking for yourself to get sick. And if you're not on colloidal silver, again, it's covered on my other channel. If one of the mods has got the link, pop it up, please, to that other channel. But yeah, I've covered a lot of this health stuff on the other channel, because that's what the other channel is for, to just go off the deep end with some of those other funnier things. And capsaicin is one I'm looking into right now. That looks like it's going to be the big hitter right now. Heart disease is rampant, right along with diabetes. And it's our bad foods. It's our bad soils. It's the stuff that's available to us, and we're just, you know, there was a study done by a doctor. There are 8 signs that we're not eating correctly, and one of them is constantly being hungry. Now, yeah, there's a weird trigger in the brain that causes some people to just be excessively hungry no matter what they eat. They can't stop eating. They're always hungry. But it's a very, very rare disease. The reason we're hungry and we have cravings is because we're not getting the good foods. We're not getting the stuff that we actually need because it's no longer available. So we're chasing other things. We're pouring on the sodium salt because our body is looking for iodine. So as we convert these things and switch these things back, we get healthier. It's amazing how that stuff works. Oh, absolutely, Charles. Absolutely. Or Charlie, I'm sorry. Absolutely. And the point of my book, and I can't say it in the book. I can't because it's not politically correct. I just can't. The point of the book is to get people an organic understanding, both in cost savings and the amount of labor. When you have a garden that uses less of everything, no NPK process, and has 0 weeds, okay, you have less work to do and you still are getting better, excessively better organics and excessively better food, tons of it, with little to no work. I can't come out in the book and say that because they've done this to the planet, because they've done that to the planet, blah blah blah, because then it becomes a politically incorrect book and I can't get it published, I can't get it worked on, I can't people won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But if I give just the basics understanding, more people may be willing to pick this book up and start spreading the word to get off the NPK system and head a slightly different direction. And when they start heading that direction, the results are instantaneous. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And the foods and the flavors and the sizes. You take a look today at most farms throughout the country, throughout the United States, and look at the size of the corn stalks. They're 6, 7 feet tall. And some people get them 8 and they think, wow, that's incredible. I have a picture from back in the 50s. I've seen it. I can't find it, or I have it posted here. There's a picture of a man who applied the system to his soils on his farm. And he has to be standing on the hood of his full-size tractor. And he still can't reach the top of the corn stalks. That's how big corn stalks used to grow. It's incredible stuff. Your yard is capable of doing that. Your garden is capable of doing that. No crop rotations needed. This stuff works. It has been working on this planet for many, many, many thousands of years prior to the NPK system. When I went out and I priced it, I went out and purchased this year's prices. I went out and purchased more stock to treat my yard for the next 3 years. That's yard and garden, both. And then I went to the big box stores and I priced the equivalent in the NPK process. $150 for 3 years worth of the stuff out of the book. Over $280 for 1 year of NPK process, which doesn't work. And that's 1 year. Imagine the cost savings. in 3, 4, 5 years. And you're getting the better foods. You're getting stuff worth storing and canning. You're going to get healthier because you're just eating stuff out of your own yard. You're not going to be spending money at the grocery store. You're going to have excess and abundance. It's incredible how this system works. Absolutely incredible. And it's everything I can do as an indie author to try and get the word out and try and help people with this understanding to get healthier and to change the direction they're going. So the reason I come on today was not for all the rest of the stuff that I see going on here. Thank you, everybody. You know what I mean. Yeah, page 51, everybody. Feed the food web. We're getting into those temperatures. We got to do something about it. It's that time. We have to pay attention to our yards. Anything over 50, 52, throughout the U.S. and throughout the rest of the world, the food web's looking to eat. Take the stress levels off your plants and give it something to eat. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot at all. Yes, JCT. Hey, good morning, Molly Gordon. Thanks for stopping in. So yeah, we need to get the word out about the book. We need to get people under the understanding that there is a better way and it is cost efficient. And people that are just basic gardeners that have been following the NPK system and struggle with weeds and struggle with this, that, and the other in their gardens and still get decent crops just need a slightly better understanding. If you've got neighbors that insist on using chemicals and you can smell them every year, don't go argue with them about putting down this, that, or the other because it's toxic, it's dangerous, it's this, it's that, it's the other. Go hand them my book. That way there's no argument. Give them a gift. Hand them my book and say, you need to check this out. Your yard's incredible, but there's something you need to see here. There's something you need to check out. Here's this book. Read this book. Then it's not you arguing with your neighbors to stop using Roundup and to stop using chemicals, which directly affect your yard and directly affect your health. Because if you can smell it, it's toxic. It's there. It's going to cause you problems. Charlie, you're missing just a couple of steps. And if you're using big box store soils, there's your problem. A lot of those are chemically enhanced. And they're going to cause your seed to be looking for GMO stuff. There's a better way. There's a much better way. There's a much easier way. It'll blow your mind. It's in the book. A lot of the solutions are in the book. I don't hold anything back. Everything I talk about in the book has absolutely 100% all supporting documentation, research, and resources. Everything is in the book. I hold nothing back. There's no reason to. My next book is going to be on building the perfect garden and never needing another amendment. But I need to get out and actually test it for myself before I'm going to write it down. I'm not just going to say, here, I have an idea and sell you a book. That's not going to work, in my opinion. I want absolute 100% proof for myself before I'm going to say this is the right way or not. I'll bet it is, JC. I'll bet it is. I know my garlic's growing like mad. I'm going to venture to say, even at the distance that I was looking at it, um, it is up, it is bright green, and I'm going to venture to say it might be 6 inches tall already. And I have a lot of it. I think I counted over 50 different heads of garlic coming up already this year. So, yeah, I'm expecting an abundance of garlic. I got a few other tricks and things out there I tossed in with the garlic this year. I'm curious. I'm curious. We'll see what happens. You know, and Charlie, if and I covered it in another video, but since you're here, if you've been growing garden and you're having issues with soil, or if you have potting soil that you don't want to throw away and you want to potentially salvage it, there's a plant that you can grow in those pots that will clean all the toxicity out of the soils. Sunflowers. Believe it or not, sunflowers throughout your yard, throughout your garden, and throughout your potting soils will detoxify the soils and pull that stuff out. So if you've had some soils in the past that you've purchased and it's big box store type stuff, Miracle-Gro type stuff, what have you, don't throw it away. Recondition it and grow some sunflowers in those pots and in that soil, and let the sunflowers detoxify. Now, most of the time, I tell you, go right ahead and refurbish or chew up and put down the stalks of these plants back into your gardens, back into your soils, back into your compost. Don't do that with the sunflowers. Throw the sunflower plants away. Don't disturb the roots. Cut them off at the base and throw the sunflowers away and get rid of the toxicities. Yes, they neutralize it. Yes, they do this. Yes, they do that. But why risk putting it back in the soil? There are a few trees, and I covered it in a completely different video, but there's a few trees that will actually pull explosives and neutralize explosives out of the soil. And they use them in a couple of military areas where they shut off a lot of explosives and there's residue all over the place. They surround these fields and these plants, and it pulls the gunpowder chemical, neutralizes it right out, and puts it in the trees and sticks it, not in the leaves, but within the wood itself, and neutralizes it. Mother Nature has a way. Mother Nature always has a way. Weeds are not your enemy. They're actually your friend. You just misunderstand them. Again, it's all covered in the book. This is an incredible book for $15 on Amazon. It's not, but I think I've talked enough. Unless anybody's got some questions concerning what the main topic was today. Page 51, potions number 641. Yep, feed the food web. We've got to take care of it. We have to take care of it. It's that time of year. We have to be looking at those soils and relieving the stress, dropping the stress level on our overall yards and our overall gardens. Feed the food web. Don't make the food web struggle. That's what's causing a lot of the so-called global warming, because it's putting off a lot of carbon, struggling to survive. Feed it. Take care of it. And watch what happens. It's some incredible stuff, everybody. So I'm going to shut this off. I don't see any questions popping up. Appreciate all of you stopping in. I really, really do appreciate you all stopping in. Maybe I sold the book. Maybe I convinced somebody to think about their neighbor that's all grumpy and they don't want to talk to, that constantly uses chemicals and is struggling with a yard. And if you've got one of those neighbors that's got a garden growing and they're using the NPK process and they're offering to give you their excess, don't eat it. Please don't eat it. it's probably toxic in one shape, form, or another. Appreciate their handing stuff out, but yeah, organic foods are the only foods you should be eating. Mother Nature's way. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year's to you. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Y'all have a great day. You'll see me around the stream somewhere, as usual. Love you, everybody. Have a great one.